charged with child porn possession, made his first appearance in court today. I have more from inside the courtroom.
A lot of people have been speaking out lately against paid parking in Balboa Park. Tonight, we hear from restaurant workers. San Diego Padres surprise elementary students and seniors on their community tour ahead of Fan Fest.
Pictures of waves and flamingos that were so spectacular, they were questioned for their authenticity. The response from the frustrated photographer.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
A Carlsbad High School math teacher charged with possession of child pornography was in court for the first time today. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. CBS 8's Alex Cheney was there and joins us now with more. Alex.
Yeah, Carlo, this is a disturbing case that we brought everybody earlier this week. Former math teacher Joseph Anthony Zybert was in court today. He's facing multiple felony charges for the possession of child pornography. And today, he entered a plea of not guilty.
A plea of not guilty on his behalf.
In Vista Court today, we got our first look at 55-year-old Joseph Anthony Zybert, the former La Costa Canyon High School and Miracosta College math teacher. He pled not guilty to all three of his felony charges today. Zybert is facing 2 charges of possession of child pornography on his desktop and his cell phone, and 1 charge of attempted purchase of child pornography. On Wednesday, the California Department of Justice arrested Zybert. The San Diego Union High School District sent out a statement about Zybert, saying the school district initially removed Zybert from class in September after being notified about the start of the investigation. Students we spoke to the day of his arrest were shocked to hear the news.
He's teaching minors, and then he has minors naked on his phone. So that makes me really uncomfortable.
It makes me feel very uncomfortable that I go to the school and there's just like people with child pornography on their phone. It's just a little weird.
Zybert was being held with no bail, but the judge changed it to $75,000. Zybert said he can pay that, so he will be released. The judge ruled upon his release, Zybert is not allowed to have contact with minors, and he is not allowed to be within 1,000 feet of a school. The judge ruled a waiver of his Fourth Amendment rights. Any property of Zybert's can be searched at any time with or without a warrant, which extends to his electronic devices. Zybert consented to have his data searched. Zybert must also surrender his passport. Zybert's next court appearance is a readiness hearing, and that's going to happen on March 12th. Back over to you.
Thanks, Alex. People across the country are taking part in a nationwide ice-out strike, protesting the Trump administration's immigration policies. Protesters are urging others not to work, shop, or show up for school.
We saw a few of these protests happening near Terralta Park and Hoover High School, featuring crowds of a couple of hundred people. Protesters are spurred by the recent deaths of U.S. citizens Renee Good and Alex Preddy at the hands of federal agents.
Today, U.S. lawmakers toured a new center in Logan Heights designed to support immigrant families amid concerns over stepped-up deportation efforts.
The Pope Francis Center, located across from Our Lady of Guadalupe Church, offers a safe space for families, especially children, with access to counseling, books, and toys, as well as connections to legal help. Leaders say fear in the community is growing as families worry about being separated and struggle to keep up with changing immigration rules.
So many families right now are terrified. Immigrant families are afraid, and a lot of times it's the kids that are citizens, it's the parents that are not, and they're terrified they're going to be broken apart. The kid's going to come home, and where's mom and dad? They've been deported or they're being detained.
Members of Congress say they are also watching closely to see whether federal enforcement could expand to San Diego, especially following recent leadership changes within Border Patrol. It's been a busy week for the California legislature as Democrats continue their opposition to that nationwide immigration enforcement.
Our state politics reporter Jenny Huh has a recap of the many immigration-related bills to track.
And there's more to come. Political analysts say this is reflective of the state's continued pushback against President Trump, whether that be through lawsuits. There have been more than 50 filed by the Attorney General and the governor, or through the state legislature with all these bills.
Get ICE out of California.
That's been the resounding message by California Democrats who have proposed at least a dozen immigration-related bills.
It's causing fear and disruption to people's daily lives, and so people are expecting us to really fight back.
The week began with the visibly packed stage of Democratic senators and assembly members.
We are here because we will not normalize what is happening in this country.
We will do everything in our power to protect California residents from ICE's out-of-control illegal violence.
And on Thursday, in a no-camera press gaggle, 12 Assembly members briefed reporters on their respective anti-ICE bills. We spoke with some of the legislators individually on efforts to limit ICE's influence in all areas of daily life, like
the use of buildings like hotels, motels, warehouses, even commercial parking lots being used as ad hoc detention facilities.
And
prevent rental car companies from renting vehicles for immigration enforcement activities.
That means they can't use state parking lots to stage for raids. It means that they can't force us to be complicit.
Also boosting oversight.
Making sure that we have a thorough, transparent, independent investigation of any shooting of a civilian by a federal enforcement agent.
Legislators also targeting the private detention facilities contracting with ICE.
Making hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. If we can't ban them, the very least we should do is tax the heck out of them.
Corporations that do business in California can choose. They can either get their tax breaks from California or get their profits from ICE.
Assembly Speaker Rivas emphasizing this is not the finalized immigration bill package. Unsurprising, but perhaps is it too much?
They're going to have to walk and chew gum at the same time. California legislators need to do something about this issue, not at the expense of the other issues perhaps, but they need to be very vocal about this and do something.
And there are also bills in the works to prohibit those who have engaged in immigration enforcement activity, like working for ICE, from serving as law enforcement, including peace officers or educators here in California. Jenny Ha, CBS 8.
Thanks, Jenny. Tonight we have new details about a police shooting in Spring Valley that we first told you about last night. It started as a domestic violence call around 5:30 p.m. Investigators say officers were in a parking lot when the suspect drove toward one of the officers, who then jumped out of the way. Police chased the suspect until he crashed in Spring Valley. Police say the man got out, ran, and fired several shots at police, and that is when two officers returned fire, hitting him in the leg. He is in the hospital now, is expected to survive. No officers were hurt. The last day to sign up for health care insurance through Covered California is tomorrow.
Your coverage would start February 1st. This is for people not already covered by other insurance options like Medi-Cal, Medicare, or your employer. Covered California says after Congress failed to extend federal subsidies, the cost of premiums and deductibles skyrocketed. According to the latest data, there has been a 97% increase in premiums statewide, which translates to $125 a month. Data from last week says that compared to this time last year, total enrollees for Covered California were down 2%, with new signups down 32%. The count of renewals is also expected to decrease as consumers cancel their plans.
California senators are on board, but not the Republican senators across the nation. If that were to happen even today, as late as it is, this thing could be unwound and people could once again have an affordable health insurance program.
House Democrats and a handful of Republicans passed a bill to extend subsidies for 3 years, but it's stuck in the Senate. For Covered California, you cannot enroll for insurance if you miss the open enrollment period, unless you have a qualifying life event like moving states or getting married. Today, District Attorney Summer Stephan announced a $25 million investment in the community with money from a major fraud case. The money will go toward the HeartSpire initiative. It's a 7-year-long plan to support and expand access to mental health, safety, wellness, and educational resources for San Diego students and their families. The money comes from fines imposed in the A3 charter schools fraud case, where scammers took in $400 million across the state. The people involved in that scam paid for student information, then used that information to enroll them in programs without their parents' knowledge and without the children ever attending.
Day 2 of the Farmers Insurance Open is now finished.
There are still 2 more days to go in this premier PGA Tour event taking place at Torrey Pines. Our Jake Garriani joins us now to break down some of today's highlights, and I'm sure there were plenty.
I think they're going to have a hard time getting people with local ties to commit to the Farmers in the future because these guys are having a rough
day, man.
I mean, but it's such a beautiful course. It's been gorgeous out there at Torrey Pines. As Carlo and Marcella mentioned, cut day, day 2 at the Farmers Insurance Open, and one of the cuts would end in epic streak. Xander Schauffele had made 72 straight cuts entering this week, the 5th longest streak in the history of the PGA Tour. Sadly, that streak comes to an end in his hometown when that birdie putt burns the edge. Schauffele finishes round 2 with a 2-under 69. It had been 1,391 days, the 2022 Masters, since the last time Xander missed a cut. In fact, Schauffele, Hoffman, Hastings, and J.J. Spawn, all the local guys, would miss the cut here in San Diego. Brooks Koepka will live to see the weekend in his first tournament back on the PGA Tour. An eagle for Brooks on 17. He just sneaks past that cut line at 3 under. Justin Rose used yesterday's 62 as momentum today on the South Course, and he remains on fire. A 7 under 65 on the South today. Rose crushes the first 2 rounds. He is 17 under par, the lowest 36-hole score in Farmers history. He holds a 4-shot lead over Seamus Power in the field, headed into the weekend. And we'll have more coming up in sports at 6:50, including a feature piece on one of the local Aztecs, one of the newer guys. So we're looking forward to introducing you to him.
Okay, can't wait to meet him. Thanks.
Maybe just too many friends and family demands on them.
It must be something like that. I don't know. I don't have a good theory.
Can't be the weather.
No, definitely not.
They're going to come back around next year.
Incredibly awesome. I've grown up in San Diego, and so I went with my dad to Lane Field to watch the Friars.
It was a day of fun surprises as Padres players hit the road for their citywide community tour. We followed some of the pitchers to Emerson Elementary in Southcrest, where they read to students, bought them books, then to a senior living community in Bankers Hill.
Our Abby Black shows us the joy as the Padres kick off Fan Fest tomorrow.
What's up, guys? Emerson Elementary students thought that they were gathering for a Scholastic Book Fair assembly.
We got your back, baby.
Instead, Padres pitchers Joe Musgrove, Mason Miller, Nick Pivetta, Michael King, Yuki Matsui, and Ty Adcock, along with Jason Adam, surprised them and read them stories. This is your ball? But the real surprise came when 4th and 5th graders shopped with the Padres for 3 books each, all donated by the Padres Foundation.
Oh, it's a blast. I mean, this is the Scholastic Book Fair was one of our favorite things as a kid when I was in school.
Paul was so overwhelmed with emotion.
That's all right. Take one big deep breath.
He needed a moment.
Nice, dude.
As they flipped through baseball books, joke books, and dinosaur stories, that's where the real home run came in.
That's where the growth is at, you know, especially nowadays with the social media and how much media is becoming prevalent. I think, you know, getting into a book every now and again is good for you.
Jason Adam was impressed with their reading level.
I'm reading at an 8th grade level already.
This is new relief pitcher Ty Adcock's first community event as a Padre.
Now, when I was a kid, I used to read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. That was probably my favorite book, I'd say.
For these students, it's more than fandom. It's building connections.
Now you're dialed in.
Thank you.
Sweet, dude.
This is all part of the Padres community tour with stops across the city ahead of Saturday's Fan Fest.
I play baseball, like Little League at a kennel, so this is like big for me.
Now we're headed to Merrill Gardens, where San Diego Padres are taking this community tour from kids to seniors, showing that San Diego's team is here for fans of all ages.
At Merrill Gardens in Bankers Hill, they thought that they were filming a fan video. The shock and excitement on their faces knocked it out of the park.
Oh my gosh, I told you in confidence, but now I'll just say it to the world. I felt like I was either going to faint or pee.
They were in awe, sharing stories of being loyal fans since the Friars played at Lane Field decades ago.
I'm old, I'm 89, so I've been going a long time.
The entire team will be at FanFest tomorrow at Petco Park starting at 10 a.m. To get a free ticket, go to CBS8.com.
Going to win at least 15 to 20 games this year.
That's what we need. That's what I like to hear.
Abby Black, CBS 8.
A lot of winners in that story.
A lot of winners, yeah. You can feel the excitement building already.
Yeah, a new study is looking into the cost of universal child care here in California.
We'll explain why researchers say this program could essentially pay for itself next.
Plus, what you need to know about the new fee for flyers who don't have a real ID. That's still ahead.
Twinkling city lights out there, lots of clear conditions. We're holding on to that all the way through the start of the weekend. It's going to lead to more heat in our forecast by tomorrow afternoon, and onshore flow picks up again. All those details are coming up.